Caitlin Clark, right? Like she's lighting things up. She's probably made more in NIL money or could potentially make more. The money in the WNBA is non-existent.
Right.
Right? Like,
but she could change that.
But can she?
Something went down in Indiana that nobody was supposed to know about. Something that could change everything we thought we knew about the Fever. Some podcasters and online insiders say there was a secret meeting at the Pacers entertainment headquarters. In that meeting were the billionaire owner Steve Simon, head coach Stephanie White, and the top Fever bosses. Nobody has ever confirmed what was said in that room. But if what people are saying is even partly true, it might explain all the weird stuff we've seen lately. From the lineup changes to Caitlin Clark's role to the strange shift in the team's mood. They say when money starts acting weird, power steps in. And that's what this story is really about. Money, power, and the most valuable rookie in women's basketball history. Because when a billionaire supposedly says, "This is CCT from now on," which means Caitlin Clark's team, that's not just basketball talk. That's a business command.
I feel like your two Iowa teams left a mark on women's college basketball, but also women's basketball at large. Is that like kind of crazy to think about? Like you were a part of something that was a catalyst for this like larger group.
I had heard about this Caitlin Clark and I was like watching videos of her just like having like 40 points, like averaging.
But to really get how we ended up here, you have to know who's actually in charge of the Indiana Fever. Most fans think the Fever are just a regular WNBA team. But behind the scenes, they're part of one of the biggest sports empires in the country. The team belongs to the Simon family, the same billionaires who own the Indiana Pacers and the huge Simon Property Group, which is the biggest shopping mall company in America. At the top is Herb Simon, who's now in his 90s. He's a big name in Indiana business, but he's way too old to handle things every day. That's where his son, Stephen Howard Simon, steps in. Steve is the vice chairman of Pacers Sports and Entertainment.
Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier were named WNBA All-Star captains for this year's WNBA All-Star Game. The captains were chosen via fan vote, and Caitlin Clark received 1.29 million All-Star votes.
When Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, she wasn't just another player, she was a whole movement. Her first game broke viewership records. Her jerseys sold out like crazy overnight. Fever tickets, which used to be hard to sell, were suddenly gone in minutes. For the first time in years, Indiana basketball, not just the Pacers, but the Fever, were the main topic everywhere. Every deep logo three she made wasn't just a basket. It was pure marketing magic. Brands wanted her face on ads. TV networks wanted her games. And every kid wanted to shoot like her. Clark's arrival was supposed to start a whole new chapter, not just for the Fever, but for the entire WNBA. But then things changed, the system changed, the coach changed, and the whole team's style started to shift. Those logo threes disappeared. The highlight plays slowed down. The Fever began playing slower, safer, and less exciting basketball. Fans started asking, what happened to Caitlin Clark's freedom? And quietly, deep inside Pacers entertainment headquarters, those same questions were reportedly being asked by someone with a lot more power.
In a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like, this is like a learning moment. Do we need that in this moment? Like, no. Right. And then she subbed me back in. There was a play where I kind of got a steal, and like we're going in transition, and Kelsey Mitchell just like takes off down the middle of the floor. And so there's like two people kind of by her, and I literally like go to grab the ball, and then I like just dribble out.
When Stephanie White became the head coach, she had a clear plan. She wanted a balanced offense built on teamwork, not one superstar. She focused on movement, passing, and structure, the kind of basketball that true fans love, but casual viewers usually find boring. The result was that Caitlin Clark's role got smaller. The system limited her famous deep threes, and sometimes she looked more like a game manager than a superstar. Now, to be fair, the team did start winning. They even made the playoffs for the first time in years. But while the Fever were doing better on the court, something else was slipping. Their numbers, ticket sales went down, TV ratings cooled off, and those viral moments that used to blow up online just stopped. Because honestly, the WNBA's biggest draw isn't just about winning games. It's about Caitlin Clark being Caitlin Clark. And according to new reports, that's when the top executives started getting uneasy. When the money machine began to slow, the family that owned that machine decided it was time to step in. And that's when this story really takes a crazy turn. Clip 5.
I think it's a really big thing that Diana Taurasi got on the mic and she said these things about Clark after. It kind of, I don't know if it's going to change the viewpoint of Caitlin Clark from a lot of these old, bitter all these old bitter Bettys that are still in the league.
According to some comments found during a Fever fan live stream, later talked about by a few podcasters, an insider claimed that Steve Simon himself called a secret meeting with head coach Stephanie White and top executives Amber Cox and Kelly Kroskoff. The rumored message was super clear: this is CCT from now on. In other words, Caitlin Clark's team. If that's true, it was a direct order from the owners to rebuild everything, the system, the brand, and the focus, all around Clark. Why? Because she's not just a player. She's a billion-dollar investment in media, marketing, and popularity. The rumor says Simon told them that from now on, every decision had to put Clark first, her comfort, her role, her spotlight, and apparently, not everyone in that room liked that. One of them was said to be Stephanie White. Reports claimed she lost it when she was told her whole system had to be built around one player. And when Steve Simon supposedly replied, "You don't have to like it, but that's how it is," the tension in that office went through the roof.
You don't understand how hard it was for me to not throw that. And she's like, "Oh, I know. Trust me." Everybody was like, "We saw you about to throw that." But I think it's just like kind of a learning process.
This clip bothered me because if you watch that play where she didn't pass Kelsey the ball after Coach Stephanie White benched her for having a few turnovers in a row, that would have been a momentum shift.
Now, is this confirmed? No. But here's where things start to match up with what's really happening. After that supposed meeting, fans started to notice something strange. In public, Stephanie White praised Kelsey Mitchell as the team's main focus, saying she was the key to the Fever's offense moving forward. But behind the scenes, insiders began whispering that the coach and front office weren't on the same page anymore. The rumor said there was tension, not just about basketball, but about control. White reportedly wanted to keep her motion offense. The owners wanted Caitlin Clark's team. And in a team owned by billionaires, guess who usually wins that argument still? To be fair, Stephanie White didn't back down. She stuck to her system. Even as fans grew more frustrated, the rumors started flying everywhere. Was White's job safe? Was the front office split? And more importantly, was Caitlin Clark stuck in the middle of a quiet power fight she never asked for? Some insiders now believe that this tension is exactly why the Fever's offseason feels so uncertain. Because if the owners really did pick a side, the coaching staff might not be as safe as people think, and that brings us to one thing that always tells the truth: the money. Let's be real, billionaires don't care about offensive systems. They care about profits. They care about sold-out arenas, big TV deals, and sponsorship checks with tons of zeros. And no one in women's sports history has made more money than Caitlin Clark. When she was shining, the Fever's numbers went through the roof. When her role got smaller, those numbers dropped. That's not an opinion, that's business reality. So when reports say Steve Simon allegedly called everyone into his office and said the Fever needed to become CCT, it actually makes sense from a business point of view. You protect the star who built your brand. You build your system around what fans pay to see. It's not about ego. It's about economics. And the Simon family didn't create a billion-dollar empire by ignoring the numbers. If the brand that's making money starts slowing down, you fix it right away. Now, to be clear, all of this is still just rumor. None of these meetings have been confirmed in public. But the pattern of what's happened, the tension with the coach, the dip in business, and the sudden changes in the team's plan all point in one direction. And when everything lines up this neatly, it's hard to ignore. Because this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about who really runs Indiana sports. Is it the coach on the sidelines or the billionaire upstairs making the final call? If the rumors are true, the Fever aren't just Caitlin Clark's team because of her talent. They're her team because the owners said so. And if that's the case, every player, coach, and executive in Indiana just got a new boss, one who wears number 22. Think about it. A 90-year-old billionaire hands control to his son. A once-in-a-generation star changes the business side of an entire league. A coach tries to hold on to her system. And somewhere in between, a quiet fight for power breaks out over who controls the future of women's basketball in Indiana. It's the kind of story that sounds made up until you look at the facts, the numbers, the timing, and the silence that came after. Nobody's denying the rumors. Nobody's confirming them either. And sometimes silence is the loudest answer. Because if this story is even partly true, it means Caitlin Clark didn't just change the Fever, she changed who runs the Fever. And that's a kind of power the WNBA has never seen before. So maybe this isn't just about basketball anymore. Maybe it's about control, money, and legacy. And in Indiana right now, those three things all seem to belong to one person: Caitlin Clark. Here's the question that keeps fans and insiders up at night: what happens next? Because if the owners really told everyone this is Caitlin Clark's team, then next season won't just be about basketball. It'll be about alignment. Will Stephanie White adjust and rebuild around Clark's strengths? Or will this be her last season as coach in Indiana? And what about the locker room? Will veterans like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston go along with the change? Or will there be quiet frustration behind the scenes? Remember, these women are competitors. Every player wants to lead. But in this new Indiana system, there might only be room for one true superstar. Fans have already started to notice signs of change, new marketing direction, more Clark-centered promotions, and little hints from executives about expanding our global reach. In plain words, they're doubling down on Caitlin Clark. And if that's the plan, expect everything from sponsorships to game plans to revolve around her next year. Because she's not just the WNBA's biggest rookie anymore. She's a billion-dollar brand in sneakers and a ponytail. The Fever might not say it out loud, but actions speak louder than press releases. And all signs point to a major internal shift, one that could make or break not just a season, but the whole future of the franchise. So as things settle down in Indiana, one thing's clear: the power has shifted, the money is watching, and the fans can feel it. The only question left is, who will still be standing when the next tip-off comes?